it's a presidential. Put money on time, keeping it confidential. Stop hitting my line. Foreign bills, a generator. Feel the hype like Gatorade.
Yo, what's good, gang? About to get into this reaction video. Welcome back. Like and subscribe if y'all new here. You know how we get down. This shit crazy. I had seen it yesterday because I follow like Swamp Stories and shit. So I seen he posted this video, bro. Like, this might be crazy, bro. Let's check it out together. Right here. Yeah, let's get into it.
I gotta visit Chicago. I gotta, you feel me, be in Chicago sometimes. Like, or I'm down there, forget where I came from. You feel me? So.
And this about Polo G brother, bro, his younger brother. And that nigga probably it said Polo G's demonic brother. Really? How bad can it be, bro? Let's see.
No.
Stay real to the streets and everything.
Polo G got all this money, and your little brother really robbing the cameraman.
He fumbled the bag.
Yep.
What? He what?
Stay real to the streets and everything.
Polo G got all this money, and your little brother really robbing the cameraman.
He fumbled the bag.
Damn, bro. He robbing a cameraman? Hold up, bro. This shit about to be crazy.
Yeah.
I do want to say, man, Polo G's brother, Trench Baby, is the epitome of blowing the bag. The conversation in the industry for the last year is that Polo G brother has been running around here robbing every cameraman, every videographer. He robbed even a couple streamers. And he's been using Polo G's name.
Welcome back to an...
Hold up, bro. How's your brother one of the most popping rappers out and you still out here robbing cameraman? Use a buster. Use a buster, bro. Like, niggas would kill, bro. Niggas done died just to be in your position right now. And you out here robbing a cameraman. Goofy.
Another episode of Swamp Stories. I usually say this is the best one yet or this is the craziest, but here I'm not gonna lie to you. But it's not because this one isn't a crazy or interesting story, it's more so because the last one might be impossible to ever top. Not only was the story insane, but I also put so much work into it that you should definitely watch it. Regardless, this story here is mind-blowing as well, and it actually crosses state lines in the strangest way possible. We center around a young man who many would say threw his life away for absolutely no reason. But that's just an outside perspective, and maybe the situation is much deeper and more complicated than people know. Because of this, we take a deep dive into the life and story of a man who potentially threw his silver spoon life down the drain. This one is straight up crazy. But before we get into it, let me run the intro.
Damn. This shit about to be crazy, bro.
The story begins in the cold Chicago streets, but in particular a part of the rack that nobody ever talks about. We always hear about the danger of the south and west sides, but for whatever reason we never hear about the danger of the north. However, believe it or not, at one point the north was equally as wild as the south and west, as it was home to various housing projects. You of course had the massive Cabrini Greens projects, which was home to 4,000 units, but you also had smaller projects such as the Marshall Field Gardens. So with all of these impoverished families in one area, sadly, a ton of violence followed. In particular, the Cabrini Greens and Marshall Field went to war in the 1970s, and sadly, it never let up. But on top of this, each project was so big that they actually had...
Why fuck with Swamp Stories, bro? He take you back to the beginning. He take you to the start, how it all began, like, so you can really understand why niggas be killing themselves. So you can really understand why, you know, niggas make it out the hood but still can't make it out the hood. crazy.
Eternal beef with themselves. Because of this, for decades, the near North Side was an extremely dangerous place to be. Residents had to watch out for rival projects, but also their neighbors as well. It was just a terrible place. It was so bad that the city of Chicago decided to step up, but not because they deeply cared, rather because they saw an opportunity. The neighborhood was surrounded by wealthy areas, making it a prime place to gentrify. So as a result, the city decided to demolish all of the projects and sell them off to private owners. The process began in the 90s and continued all the way into 2014.
Damn.
Basically, the projects were torn down one building at a time, and the residents were given Section 8 vouchers to move somewhere else.
It's a neighborhood surrounded by profound change, now populated by high-tech workers, trendy restaurants, and both mixed income and pricier condominiums.
Of families earning over $200,000 a year, this is the fastest growing area, not just in the city, but in the nation.
So year after year, the near north side of Chicago was changing dramatically as residents kept being pushed out. One of these families who was pushed out was the Bartlett family, longtime residents of the Marshallfield Gardens. The family was headed by a man named Torres, who was a young teenager amidst the crazy beef. Torres was a reputed member of 1300, a gang that represented the 1300 block of Sedgwick Avenue. 1300 is a well-known set.
No, exactly. I was about to say that. That's the same 1300 that Polo G be rocking on the chain, right? Right. See what I'm saying? Take you back to the beginning.
Of Mickey Cobras that pretty much have beef with everyone on the north side. Because of this, OG Torres was forced to pretty much always live in survival mode. And by the age of 18, he already had 2 children, an oldest girl named Leilani and the youngest Torres Jr. Raising 2 kids as teenagers was definitely tough, but the Bartletts did whatever they could to survive. So often when the parents were working or doing what they do, Torres Jr. was out in the neighborhood at a young age.
You would just be on the block sometimes, like, the whole night.
Yeah. Like, as a kid, too, really, like, just out and about. You just having fun, really, for the most part.
I mean, if you came up in that life, you know what he talking about. Just being out there late, doing bad shit, not knowing the consequences of what you're really doing, because you're young, I know. I mean, we all been there, bro.
Like, you ignoring all of everything that's going on around you. Like, you ain't thinking too much of it. It's like when you get older, it starts to sink in. Like, dang, it's crazy.
As a kid, Torrance would be out on the block all night seeing things that he should probably never see. But in the hood, I guess that's normal.
So what would happen when you would go home the next day? What would your parents say?
It's nothing. They ain't too much of it because we in the hood. Everybody know everybody.
Well, eventually, Torres Jr. started to realize that everything going on around him was...
Yeah, he ain't even lying, man. He ain't even lying. Like, a lot of families be fucked up in the hood. You know, mama's on crack and shit. Daddy's in jail and shit. No guardians. It's easy for a nigga to, you know, get into this shit early, you know what I'm saying?
Was wrong, and he used school as a sanctuary to escape the madness. Because of this, he developed into being a great student who was skilled in writing and definitely in poetry. However, due to his surroundings, he was simultaneously led into a life in the streets. Even from the ages of 9 or 10 years old, banging 1300 was kind of looking like his future. His older friends in the hood were jumping off the porch, so whatever he was doing at this age could potentially shape the rest of his life. But then, thankfully, around 2010, the Bartlett family moved out of the Marshallfield Gardens. They moved specifically to a part of Southside Chicago called the Low End. For a now 11 or 12-year-old Torres Jr., this move was crucial for his development. Although the Low End is also a rough area, the move moved him away from the Northside politics, removing him from the beef that he was eventually going to be in. It also moved him to a different school, allowing him to focus on his talents. So by all accounts, moving from the Marshallfield Gardens to the Low End was a great move for Torres Jr. But for his brother, well, you'll see. That introduces us to the youngest Bartlett's son named Torian. Hello. Born in 2005, Torian barely experienced growing up in North Chicago. So unlike his brother, he decided to rep the low end as his turf, specifically the area of 43rd and St. Lawrence. So while his older brother was focusing on school and developing his talents, Torian, well, not so much. He was not able to follow in his brother's footsteps at all, as school for him was not a sanctuary. In fact, since a young age, it's actually where he had many problems, fighting and doing all kinds of nonsense.
I ain't gonna lie, I was bad as I was doing damn near everything under the sun, man. I ain't gonna lie, school was tough.
Nigga damn near look and sound like Polo. He like the dark skin version, like the darkest skin version. Crazy.
Like, you feel me? I was really like the knucklehead, so it was like staying in school was hard for me. Like, I always get suspended and like that, so like.
Because of his constant fighting and getting suspended, he kept getting kicked out of school and sent around the city. Sadly, anger problems and being surrounded by the lethal South Chicago streets were leading him down a very bad path early on. So for him, the family's move from the north down to the south was not looking like a good idea. Especially because by this time, the north was already 90% gentrified. In fact, today, Marshallfield Gardens are completely surrounded by million-dollar condos and vegan cafes, if you know what I mean. So Torian was stuck growing up in a neighborhood that was trending the exact opposite way of where they had come from. Like, specifically, the block his family had moved to was turning into a war zone. No, literally. Let me explain.
Damn.
Historically, Chicago was kind of like LA, where you had these massive gangs that everything was connected to. Like, you were either BD or GD, and no matter what neighborhood, that was who your rival had to be. But as they tore down all of the projects and the residents were dispersed into different neighborhoods, the gang ties were pretty much all mixed up. Since the early 2000s, on one block you could have GDs, BDs, Vice Lords, Latin Kings, and whatever else. Eventually, trying to maintain the structure of how things were was becoming impossible, so they all decided to just give it up. Pretty much it was no longer about BD or GD, but rather who you hang out with or which block you're from. So hybrid cliques started forming all over the city, one of which taking place exactly where the Bartletts moved. In the mid-2000s, a group of teenagers in the low end between 40th and 43rd joined together and created So Icy.
Oh, the girl's excited. Oh, I think you like it. Hey, Swamp Stories, man. You goofy, man.
So Icy were fly guys who loved to dress up and have fun, inspired by Gucci himself. They were headed by a rap group called the 20 Brick Boys, who were basically the first people in Chicago to have professional music videos. Because of this, So Icy and the Brick Boys had a major buzz in Chicago and were known for getting all of the girls. But don't get it twisted, they also had major hitters in the streets, such as Tay Savage and Anthony Welch. Tay and Welch were like best friends. You never saw one without the other. Well, at first, the So Icy boys didn't really have beef.
A simple will go back towards the rear of the...
They fought some rivals, but that was pretty much it.
We started out fighting. We used to fight the Ottaby Wheels in high school.
But in the nature of Chicago, beef would eventually come. It all started when the So Icy boys fell out with a clique called the Ave, located on 37th in Indiana. It began as fights, disses, and overall disagreements between the cliques. But then, in typical Southside Chicago fashion, the Ave would take it to the next level. That takes us to May 13th, 2010. Tay Savage is posted up outside on 32nd and King Drive, and that's when a car rolls through. Tay isn't paying attention, so that's when somebody hops out of the car and runs up. Bang! Tay is hit once in the stomach, and his friends rush him to the hospital where he thankfully survives. However, due to the complications of the surgery, he remains in the hospital for over a week. So Icy were pissed, but none more than Tay Savage's best friend, Anthony Welch. So while Tay was in the hospital recovering, Welch was outside looking for revenge.
Spin it. See what I'm talking about? You ain't even had to die, bro, for this shit to start. He got hit, he survived, but niggas gotta get that get back, bro. Chicago, Florida, New York, LA. I mean, I don't know about LA so much. I don't know how the politics work over there, but like, like New Orleans and like Baton Rouge, bro. Like all these places, man. Y'all need to chill, bro, for real.
May 15th, 2010, 7 p.m. Welch and a SOIC associate are allegedly sliding around looking for a rival. At 7:15, they go through the Avs neighborhood, and that's when they spot a man outside. So with all his anger, Welch instantly hops out of the car and starts approaching the members. Little does he know the Av are on point, and they beat him to the punch. Bam!
Damn.
The loss of Welch absolutely devastated the So Icy boys, so much so that they changed their name to Welch World. Welch World basically represented a dedication to get back for Welch, and that would definitely happen. Sadly, over the next year, Tay Savage and the So Icy boys would go body for body with the Av. In fact, the two people that were said to be responsible for the loss of Welch both ended up dying. The beef got so bad that the low end was turned into an absolute war zone.
For the price of one, they got two. For the price of one, they got two. So imagine how many they gonna get on the get back. This shit is crazy, man.
And nothing was gonna stop it. In fact, Welch World was so wicked that all of their rivals had to click up as one. In particular, the Av joined together with two cliques, Rock Nation 027 and Lawless.
Imagine being so savage that all your ops gotta come together in coalition just to like get you out, bro. Like take you out the game, bro. That's insane, bro. I don't know if y'all understanding what's going on right now, but this is crazy.
035. These are both reputed GD sets located on 27th and 35th respectfully. So together they formed 757 for 27th, 35th, and 37th together. Basically from 2013 on, 757 versus Welch World was the major beef on the low end. Woo-hoo. Things were crazy. So now that you understand the context, you understand that the Bartletts moved right into Welch World territory. And this means that throughout Torian's upbringing, this was his surroundings, and this is who he was looking up to. Sadly, by the age of 12, he was already outside with Welch World, right in the line of fire. Things were already looking bad for Torian, but thankfully for his brother, things were looking the complete opposite. Taurus was able to completely stay out of the low-end politics and rather focused on his newfound talent. In late 2017, he began rapping under the name of Polo G, and he instantly took
it. Kids, that's how you do it. That's how, shout out to Polo G, man. I ain't know that about him before, bro. Shout out to Polo G for that, man. I mean, granted, he mixed up in that shit, but like, he stayed in school, he started a career, and that shit paid off. Kids, pay attention.
Off. It all started with a SoundCloud song called Gang With Me, and that's how he got his instant recognition. From there, he was intelligent enough to capitalize off his buzz and to send the video to WorldStar. As the views piled up, Polo was truly becoming a star, all with his little brother right by his side. Then by early 2019, Polo signed a major record deal and bought a home way across the country. California, living in the hills. Just like that, he was able to take his family out of...
How much that motherfucker cost?
By early 2019, Polo signed a major record deal and bought a home way across the country.
5.6 million. That's a whole lot. That motherfucker got a tennis court, a pool, whole bunch of shit. This nigga came up, bro, damn.
California, living in the hills. Just like that, he was able to take his family out of the Chicago trenches.
They're coming straight in. Trust me, I've got nothing.
He decided to bring his little brother with him and even purchased his mom a home in Atlanta. So now instead of living and going to school in the trenches, Torian was living in the beautiful Los Angeles hills. This meant that the troubled Torian was now enrolled in 8th grade in Los Angeles. Obviously, this is a much better environment than what he just came from, as now he's completely removed from his politics. In a perfect world, this is where his troubled ways go away, as he's now in a great environment. But that's just the perspective of people who have no grasp on reality, as many issues are much deeper than surface level. Cause growing up in survival mode has serious long-lasting effects, and sometimes they take a whole lifetime to wash away.
Facts. That's that PTSD. That's that PTSD. It real. It real.
On top of this, you never know what anyone's been through at home. Like, his home life could have been horrible. Well, regardless, Torian's ways did not change one bit in Los Angeles schools.
We had moved to Cali.
At 14, now you gotta leave all Chicago and everything, man. Does that kind of...
Man, you can see it in this nigga eyes, man. No Diddy shit, but this nigga got them dark eyes, bro. He really what they say he is.
Suck for you, like, damn, all my homies and everything.
Hell yeah, I was young. I ain't really had no good understanding on life, and you feel me? The trenches was really all I knew. So, like I say, I was coming to, you feel me, California with that same Chicago mindset. You feel me? My 8th grade year, I had moved, went to high school, got kicked out of high school. Shit, I just said, fuck that shit.
What'd you get kicked out for?
Fighting, same shit. And you know, that shit just wasn't working out for me. Like I said, I was getting kicked out of school still and shit like that. Like, I just ain't know how to adapt, you feel me? I'm young. I done been in this shit all my life now. This shit just flipped around and now I'm in this. It's like I don't know how to adapt to that because I was so young, but yeah.
Transitioning from the Chicago trenches to California was definitely a tough...
And then be a lot of kids like that too. There's thousands and thousands and thousands and maybe even millions of kids like that. That, you know, they trying to make them do good, but they just can't because it's the only life they know is the streets, man. It's sad though.
Frau. All he ever knew was the streets and the ways of the streets, and the same can be said about his family.
They couldn't really say shit. My family was in the streets. Feel me? Can't really tell me.
What did I just say, man? What did I just say about this, man? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's all you know, it's the streets, bro. Trying to tell a nigga otherwise is just like, you know, putting water in a basket or some shit. You know, that shit not gonna stick, bro.
Me not to be in the streets or how to maneuver through the streets, and you a street person yourself, that's really being a hypocrite, you feel me? So they really just let me do me in.
Not really, but like that's how you gonna look at it, my man, cause all they doing the same shit you doing the same shit they doing. I get it, but like advice is advice, bro. If you could take that shit regardless of who getting you the advice, bro. You feel me? Like, it's just if you want to do better for yourself, man.
Just hope for the best.
As some would say, Torian just had that dog in him, but thankfully Polo G would help try to keep him away from the streets. He took him on tour, included him in his rap videos, and made sure to give him the best possible life. So between living in the LA hills, partying in Miami, and world touring, which 15-year-old could possibly ask for a better life? So from the outside looking in, life is pretty damn good for Torian. But then, a tragic incident would change everything.
Damn.
Fun fact, there's a vending machine at the peak of Mount Fuji. It's true. There's like 5 million of them in Japan.
Damn.
August 17th, 2020. It's
crazy how, like, swap stories, bro. How you begin the dates and the names and all this shit. I don't know, maybe it's public record, bro. Like, you be really doing investigations, bro. That's tough, man. A lot of work.
The late afternoon in the low end of Chicago, and many teenagers are outside enjoying the last week of their summer break. In particular for Welch World, all of their young guys are outside on 42nd and St. Lawrence. Pretty much all of Torian's day one friends are outside having fun, not thinking of any beef. But that's when a tinted up car rolls through at 7:20 p.m. As the car slowly creeps up the block, they roll down their window and bang! A teenage boy is critically injured, and a 17-year-old girl also sustains injuries. The boy, whose name is Azo and happens to be Trench Baby's best friend, undergoes brain surgery and is sadly placed into a coma. But thankfully, through miracle surgery, he's able to wake up and fully recover. Still though, the whole ordeal absolutely infuriated Torian. Someone really did this to his best friend, basically initiating a war in the new generation.
Now he in it. You see how easy it is to be in it? Just like that. Just like that. Just like that, you in it, bro. It don't even take nothing, bro. I mean, it take this type of shit, but like...
Because of this incident, the beef is taken to a whole new level. On top of this, after Azo's recovery, an op would go on Instagram Live and clown him.
Look, this is Alonzo. Look, that's his song. That's his little video. Look, this him.
And here come the social media part, man. The worst part about all this beef and shit. The social media, bro.
Right here. This him right here. Goofy. Now it ain't that serious. Now it ain't that serious. Now it ain't that serious. Now it ain't that. He got hit. Now it ain't that serious. Now it ain't that serious. You couldn't even walk. Talk big helmet on your head. Look at him. God forgive me. I pray for you, boy. I pray for you, boy. Let y'all see it again. That's Azo, the rapper.
Yeah, he definitely did that shit. You can hear it in his voice, man. He definitely did that shit.
Azo the GOAT. Yeah. You shouldn't even be trying to gangbang. You should have learned from that.
With all this happening to his best friend, Trench Baby felt the obligation to return to Chicago.
I can physically leave Chicago.
Man, bro. Survivor's remorse. It's real. That's survivor's remorse. Like, brother, you could have just stayed your ass in LA. You got a $5 million mansion. You going on tour around the world. You iced out. Got bands. On bands. But you just choose to go back to the beef in Chicago, man. Like, I don't get it, man.
But I can't leave Chicago, you feel me? Going out there, it's like I can't just get all that shit up. Or I gotta, you feel me, be in Chicago sometimes.
Sadly, at 15 years old, he heads back to the low end of Chicago on his own. There, he creates his new persona.
This nigga 15, bro? What? Bro, this nigga look like 24 or some shit, man.
One under the name of Trench Baby. He instantly starts releasing diss songs, posting up in op hoods, and gaining a bunch of traction on social media. From what we know, what happened to Azo really brought his savage out. He first drops a song called F Yo Homie, where he and Welch World members are walking through the neighborhood. This is a dangerous move, but it was essentially Trench Baby opting into the beef. Like, yeah, my brother might be rich, but I'm still in the rack full-fledged. Then he takes it to the next level with his second song, Richest Gangbanger, where he
Goofy. If you got that mindset, you a goofy. Straight up, bro. It ain't worth dying over, my guy. It's not worth it.
Flexes his brother's money and disses the ops. This is a wicked game to be playing in Chicago, but for Trench Baby, he's truly with all of the activities. Being in the low end every single day is definitely a risk, but thankfully that's when Big Bro comes to the rescue. To celebrate his new album Hall of Fame, Polo G goes on a sold-out world tour. In the summer of 2021, Polo G would go on his world tour and thankfully tag his little brother along. This takes touring away from the life of crime, but more importantly, away from the streets of Chicago. Polo G wanted nothing more than for his brother to live the good life, like I didn't get us out of Chicago for nothing. On top of this, during this period, he was able to surprise his mom with a dream mansion in Atlanta.
Like, you see all this shit and you still not learning from your brother, man. You like, bro, you a little goofy, bro. Like, I don't know. They need to put that nigga in check. Again, we gonna end the video here. Come back with a part 2. We out.